You're listening to Zoo, the show, the podcast.
Gollum.
You're listening to Zoo, the show, the podcast. I'm Joey. And there's no one else in the room. It's just me. It's just me this time.
I'm Dallas.
I'm William. I really thought about saying I'm Dallas.
No, people will be so confused.
Yeah.
We're talking about Zoo episode 6. This is what it sounds like, which now having watched the full episode doesn't really.
Yeah.
I don't know what sound. I guess it's about the device that we'll talk about later, but it doesn't really.
I mean, it's still nonsensical. There's so many better things they could have.
Yeah.
Past 2 episodes have had sort of lame titles compared with the first few, which were very. If they didn't make sense, they were at least sharp and got the thing across quickly.
As this has been a roller coaster ride, this kind of felt like one of the low points.
It was. Yeah. There was a lot happening.
There was a lot of promise in the beginning.
It was a lot going on in this episode. I will say that there was not a point where I was like, why are they like doing all this boring stuff? Like I never had a moment in this episode where they were like, I guess animals are smart actually.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is good. That said, this episode was just a series of weird decisions. Some of them good, and some of them bad. And yeah, it was at the very least, I will say this, I didn't get bored watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was exhausting, but not boring.
It picks up where we left off. Chloe and Mitch have been kidnapped by the gang run by Silva, is his name, I think? Silvo? Oh, okay. Silvo. They think that they're police, and Mitch is being a real asshole about it.
Yeah, like he's just like, I'm not a cop. Here's some science words.
He's doing the whole thesaurus bit where he's like, actually, I couldn't be a cop because I know about mitochondria. Which is often what I say when a drug deal is going bad. I would be like, actually, there's no way I could be a cop because I know all about crocodile mating habits.
Yeah.
He compliments someone running the drug war.
Yeah, which was nice of him. He was like, the only thing I know about drugs and the drug war is that drugs won. And you could feel like the writers of the show being like, haha, deep, nice. Yeah. They take them up into a building and they're like, something about... Oh no, they just take them up into the building at this point. And then we cut over to Abraham, who's gone to the...
out.
Yeah, he's at the police. He's like, you need to stop these drug lords. And they're like, I guess we can send a guy over to check it out.
And I'll point out the last name situation with 2 characters here.
Yeah.
Because the agent that Chloe knows from an earlier episode.
Yeah.
I guess her last name is Muchacho.
Yeah.
Which is just a very lazy name for like a Latin character.
And Abraham's last name, which I think this is the first time we're hearing is Kenyatta.
He literally has Kenya in his last name.
Which, like, I don't know if these are real. Like, I don't want to sound like an ignorant white person. I don't know if these are generally, like, names in Latin America and Africa that are, like, common, but it does feel like they picked them for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, regardless, it does feel like,
I think they'd be memorable to people that don't know any language.
Yeah. It's like, I guess... I suppose so. It reminds me of when in college, running for president of the school, whatever, there was a kid whose name was Christian White, and I was like, on point, nice. Yeah, I think I know what his deal is.
There's his demographics.
Abraham's going to the police. They are not being super helpful, and then they're like, oh shit, they're dropping the endrin, the poison onto our people. And they look out the window and there's a huge plane flying below building height. Yeah. Like just dropping.
Oh my gosh.
Like tons of stuff and it's not working and they're like, oh geez, it's not working. Oops.
I just realized too that like by the end of this, how they're all like oh yeah, blah blah blah, and we did it, and blah blah blah. And, like, they still poisoned Rio de Janeiro.
You did not do it in time.
Yeah,
is the end of it. Oh my god, like, and they're all like, it's very funny because she's Muchacha is like, she looks out the window and she's like, is it supposed to work like that when the bats aren't moving? And this one general just comes up and he doesn't say anything. He's just like, no, no, ma'am. We cut back to Mobile where they're sitting in the middle of the road for no reason after the accident in the morning and talking through. Not really a ton happens. She just explains what happened last episode, which is she was on the way back with Leo. Evan smashed into the car, killed Leo, and took the mother cell. Which I guess, like, it's wild that they get that back within one episode. Yeah. I definitely, like, thought...
It's wild and disappointing.
Yeah, because this is really an episode, I think that, like... I mean, there's a real reason for my disappointment, we'll get to it, but, like... It's an episode that really changes the flow of the show in a way that is less interesting to me than more, instead of like a lot of the times when they do a weird twist or something changes, I'm like, oh hi Maya, don't, yeah, you're not gonna kill us like Kinsey will.
I'm sorry.
She'll kill us with kindness.
Yeah. Oh, don't step on the recording.
Don't do it.
Really just standing right over the recording device.
I'm not paying attention to her.
Oh, yeah, I know. Anyways, not a lot happens. They just recap what happened last episode, which is Leo has the mother cell. Or not Leo. Leo's dead. Evan has the mother cell. Mm-hmm. And then we cut to Paris, where, you know, these side stories where something happens are normally a lot slower paced. It usually gives us a sort of hint at what's going to happen first, and then...
Yeah.
And then it's like builds, like there's a narrative to it. The narrative to this one is a rich white lady, comes into her very rich and white home, and she's like got her reusable grocery bag.
Yeah.
And she's like walking through and she's like puts down her keys and she's like reading the newspaper. And a huge brown bear just like softly pads behind her throughout her whole house.
Like 2, maybe 3 feet behind her.
Like, oh my god, so there's just no way, like, regardless of, and I know animals can, like, really be much quieter than a person, like, would think, but there's no way something that size, you would hear it breathing. Like, there's just no way.
I mean, you could hear the breathing,
later,
like, in the show, and this lady's just like reading the newspaper.
She should have been listening to like a podcast.
Yeah, like,
should have been
she
like,
would have had headphones in or whatever.
Yeah,
that'd have been.
I think they didn't want to play it for laughs.
Yeah, it would have been just comedy.
Well, I mean,
but like it does.
Comic.
Yeah, it's very funny.
It's
still.
like more comical without any reason for it to be happening.
Yeah,
because like at least if she had the headphones, it'd be like, oh, she can't hear. But now it's like, is this lady a deaf person?
I mean, that would have been a point they could have done. Like, that could have been a narrative thing. It would have had to been, like, it was so short in this episode. Normally, these, like, things take up, like, a quarter of the episode. But, like, this was, like, very little.
It's probably 4 minutes at the most.
Yeah.
They were teasing us for sure.
And I think...
The Adventures of House Bear.
Yeah, House Bear. House Bear.
Maybe they got tired of these vignettes.
Maybe.
They're just like, we just want the action now.
I guess so. I just feel like the vignettes are the best part.
They are.
Of the show, usually. And I'm going to be sad if they take them out completely.
And I mean, I still enjoyed the House Bear Chronicles.
Yeah, I enjoyed.
They were still enjoyable.
It was very fun. Like, there was no narrative to that, but it was very good.
Yeah.
I know.
So, Bear stealthing rich lady. We go back to Rio, where the gang has brought Mitch and Chloe up into an abandoned warehouse, and they're like, look at this. These mice aren't scared of us at all. Oh, Maya, you're really like...
She's just going to lay on it.
You're really going
to... I can promise
You're really fucking up our sound quality here, Maya. Oh, you're so sweet, though.
She is. Okay, we'll just stay there and don't run around your neck too much.
Yeah, put your face really close to it. Meow loudly. That's good. Oh, Maya. Do we have to? Okay,
she's
good.
Gonna eat us
She'll be
all
back.
because we're giving away the secrets
Mm-hmm.
of the revolution.
Oh, Maya. Yeah, go underneath. That's good. The gang is interrogating. They're like, "You're smart about animals. Tell us why the mice aren't scared of us anymore. It's really hurting our feelings."
Yeah.
Here we are, big tough guys, and the mice aren't scared of us. Is essentially what happens.
Yeah.
And they are like, "Oh, it's because the mice are like more scared of the bats than of you."
Yeah.
Which I guess, makes sense. And then the gang member, presumably to show how tough he is to the mice, shoots one with his pistol.
Yeah, like a mouse walks on Chloe's foot and she was like jumps and he just pulls out a handgun and shoots a mouse point blank. Like
indoors in like a concrete room.
Yeah. Oh, God. Like they're so. Because doesn't concrete ricochet?
Yes,
yeah.
It would be everywhere. It'd be a nightmare.
And like every time they start using guns in this, it's just in a small enclosed concrete space.
Yeah. No one would have any hearing at all.
Yeah, and then what else happens? Oh yeah, they ask to use the antenna, which was what they were doing last episode, and he's like, "No, absolutely not. That's how I make my money. I'm a small businessman."
But he also does the trash and sanitation.
Yeah,
he's more like the mayor.
He's like really like
he's the mayor of this, like
I get that like he's like ostensibly a bad guy and is using like violent tactics and stuff, but from my perspective, the only person he's hurt thus far were some people who came into his like little town area and were like trying to fuck up his cell phone tower.
Yeah.
Like thus far we haven't seen him do anything actually that bad outside of being violent to the heroes.
And shooting a mouse point blank.
That's true, he did kill a mouse point blank. But like that's, if we're gonna start being angry at people for killing animals, then the heroes are gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they haven't killed any.
Not animals. Yet. Maybe they won't. Maybe that'll be the big back to Paris briefly, where the bear, she's like in her, and it really like pulls this out for a little bit, where she's like going around her like, "Oh, what's in here? Where's my glass?" And
she's like walking around, and I'm like, where the hell is the bear? It was literally like 2 feet behind you.
Yeah, she does like a legit 360-degree like turn multiple times and like doesn't see the bear. And then she like turns one more time to look into her like fridge or something and then turns back around and bear right there. Like and it like goes for her and she screams and then we cut away from it again.
Yeah.
It's a really like the amount of time we pass in the like
the Beariverse.
In the Beariverse is probably like the amount of time it took in Showtime. Like there's no like it was that and just over. Like she looks around her kitchen attacked by bear. Back to Rio. Mitch is like trying to dig through a wall when they the gang members come back and are like, "Hey, we need you to get rid of these bats." And they're like, "We can't do that unless you bring us equipment and supplies." And Chloe's clearly lying to buy them time. And she turns to Mitch and she's like, "What supplies do we need, Mitch?" And Mitch does the most half-hearted lie. Yeah. Like, he's so like, I guess we would need an old computer and some copper wires. And he like rolls his eyes. Yeah. And I don't know why he asked for an old computer specifically. Why wouldn't you just ask for a computer?
Maybe he's like, they'll probably have some old computers around.
But you would want Shirley to make it so it's hard for them to, I don't know.
He isn't thinking. He has no hope.
Yeah.
That we'll learn later.
Mitch is a real shithead the whole episode through.
Yeah. And then they try to make him endearing, and it doesn't really.
No. We all kind of, like, Mitch being an asshole at first was sort of fun, and he was like, "Oh, I'm the smart asshole," which I don't like that trope, generally speaking, in media anymore. I've, like, kind of, like, gotten bored of it. But it can still be, it can be fun sometimes, but, like, it's just, like, oppressive. Like,
yeah, it can't be, like, a main recurring character for it to work.
Yeah.
Like, and it's such a negative thing, too, because then it's like, oh, well, all smart people are assholes. Like, no, that dude would be fired immediately if he gave that kind of tood to any of his, like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess he doesn't care because he's giving it to people who literally are holding his life in their hands.
Yeah, like...
Cut back to Mobile, where Jamie is remembering that, wow, Evan had weird eyes.
Yeah.
He was high as fuck, is essentially what she's trying to say.
Or he was just really dark out.
Yeah.
And this part is annoying, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, it was a traumatic experience, and then they're asking her all these questions, and then, like, she has, like, one, like, she's like, oh, he had a light-colored shirt. And they jump down her throat. Like, you didn't tell us that before. Like, he's not going to be wearing the same shirt.
What the fuck, Jamie? He also brings over two photographs of Evan and is like, look, in this photograph his eyes are normal, but
Which
in
you
this
could
one,
not tell.
Fucking high. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they did a side-by-side because I still, like, I really, like, this is a problem I'm realizing I have. I have no idea what eyes look like.
Yeah. And, like, you could not, from the first picture, his face was, like, back, and he's got, like, kind of a squinty look because the sun's there. Like, you can't tell what his eyes look like.
Jackson buys some $2 sweet teas, and...
Oh, yeah. Ridiculous price.
Ridiculous. Oh, dear.
But they also find out he's driving a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's later in the hypnotism.
Oh, yeah. That's when they try to
that's right.
hypnotize the information out of her.
There's a brief cut before this, which is awesome, where you see Evan
yeah.
in just a... Oh, Maya, please. Hang on. Sorry about the audio quality. I'm just going to gently move.
Fix it in post.
I can't do that.
There is no post.
I can do a little bit, but I can't. I mean, when she's just sitting next to it and going, look at this. She's gonna start playing a tuba.
Slide whistle.
We cut to Evan, who's just in like one of those little like outdoor mall situations.
Yeah.
And just goes into an optometrist and turns the sign around, and the optometrist is like, "Oh, hey there! Hi there, fella. How's it going?"
God,
just a walk in, huh?
Well, I suppose I can squeeze you in. And Evan's like, "I want you to do something for me."
And he's like, what?
What?
I'm sorry. I don't understand what. You will.
Yeah, he's literally like, I don't understand. You will. And it shows his eye and how it's all like goopy and like, it's like his pupil is melting, it looks like. It's real gross.
Then we cut back and they're doing, the FBI agent is like, I think I can help you figure this out, Jamie. Schaefer is like, puts her in a chair. And then this is supposed to be a hypnosis scene, but, like, he's really just asking her the same... Like, he does at one point say something like, you've been in a car crash. But it's like if, like, you put me down and were like, do hypnosis on a person. I would be like,
He doesn't even have her close her eyes the whole time.
Just, like, quietly asking the same questions. But they get more out of it.
For some reason.
She remembers that he got into a truck. And that his license plate has the first three letters KLL.
Like kill.
Like kill. Which we noticed. They would probably, if he was real FBI, which none of us thought at this point.
Yeah.
Because of how suspicious he acts all the time.
Yeah.
They would probably already know what truck.
Yeah, they
because he stole it from a dead man.
Mm-hmm. And there should be a gigantic manhunt.
Yeah.
Because, like, when we lived near a prison, and whenever there are prison breaks, like, cops were everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's for, like, a minimum security prison.
Yeah.
That isn't, like, just being attacked by wolves.
Yeah, that too.
If a prison was attacked by wolves, I'd be very, very interested in finding the only survivor.
Yeah.
Cut back to Evan Lee, who is talking to this, like, optometrist who, like, is just in a fucking, like, mall. Like, this is important. This guy's at a vision center. This is not like a doctor. This isn't even a hospital or a doctor's office. Like, you know, like, this is like a place where you go in and the only pieces of equipment they have are the things that blow air into your eye.
Yeah.
And like they're like, C or D, E or B, which one's better, A or B, B or C? Like, and he's just is like, I need you to take a sample from 4 inches into my eye, and pulls out this huge needle, and the optometrist is like, okay, well, I am trained to do that. I guess I could do that. And then he does do that.
Oh, God.
Oh, it was really, I couldn't watch. I had to turn away.
It didn't actually show it, but it did a real good,
enough.
it did a real good job. Like, it cut to the next scene, like, right when the needle hit the eye. They did a really good job with that.
Yeah, the reason that actor isn't in this show anymore is because in real life he accidentally did just wham! Oh no!
Yeah, they had to
write him out.
Yeah, they had to do that thing where they're doing like in Star Wars with that one guy.
Oh yeah.
I know everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that one guy in Star Wars.
The one guy in Star Wars. Yeah. Intermission, I think.
Yeah, I suppose so. We can start a little bit. Marcus, he'll be back.
Oh yeah.
We go back to Rio and.
Oh yeah, back. No wait, there's another Paris scene first.
Oh yeah.
There's another of her. She's on the floor. She's bleeding a little, like very little. Like they do not. This is a very white house. You really thought they were going to bathe it in blood if you're going to have a house that... Maya. If you're going to have a house that is like that, like coated in blood, like... But no, she's just like, she's wounded. She's crawling across the floor. No blood is coming off of her. And she like crawls into a closet that has a... like... It has like shades. It's not a sturdy door.
No.
She's in like... It's
the wine cellar?
Yeah,
the wine closet?
You can see through it. Like, and she's hiding in there, and she tries to blockade the door off with, like, a broom and, like, a cookie tin. Like, she just, like, kind of wedges a cookie tin under the door to stop this 800-pound bear. There's no chance. Like, your only hope in that situation is just the bear doesn't notice you.
Yeah, the bear gets distracted with something else and leaves.
If you're hiding in, like, your closet, you're not going to be able to stop the bear. I don't think I'm trying to imagine just in our apartment or in your apartment or any house I've been in, like, where could I go that a bear couldn't get me? And there's just no, like, what room could I possibly barricade that well?
Only if you have gigantic furniture, but still it's like, just run out the window.
Yeah, it's just her in this closet, and she doesn't really do anything outside of try and wedge it shut, and the bear there knocks over the fridge, and you audibly were like, oh no, when the fridge fell over.
I mean, it's a lot of food spoilage.
Yeah, I mean,
I fear that greatly.
The bear might eat it, you don't know.
It's true.
It
also drinks the wine.
Oh, yeah. The bear did drink some of the wine. Oh no, he's an alcoholic.
That's the best part of it.
It was really good. Like it's her husband. Was our the bear is actually her husband.
I was thinking it has to be a life of pi situation.
We thought, and there's nothing like proving this at this point. We thought briefly that this might be because she's a blonde lady in Paris. That it might be the Chloe's sister who was sleeping with her husband, which like would make sense. And like you really should, if you're going to cast like for another thing in Paris, it shouldn't be another blonde lady if it's not her sister. Like, because it's just. I mean, I just assumed that was the case, but they didn't do. They would have revealed that, I think.
There would have been more work for it, yeah. Or we would have gotten to know her better, I think.
Yeah.
Although that could be a good reveal later, like, oh, I was attacked by a bear.
I guess so, but where does it go from there? Like,
she's a bear expert now.
She knows all about bears.
Yeah.
Just like when they found Chloe, who was attacked by lions, they were like, "You're the only one who's been in the shit." Do you think there's going to be a point where we discover that, like, all the governments are in Raiden's pocket and that, like, they've been hired because they're specifically incompetent? just to like it's like a joke to like try and like, oh look, we tried really hard to stop Raiden.
I think we should talk about this at the end of the episode, because I think that's what it might be leading to, honestly.
Maybe.
In some ways, like, there's some big changes in this episode, but, like, something else has to replace it.
Yeah. There's got to be a new villain. Like, yeah, we've just talked about the third house bear.
the house bear trilogy.
Yeah, number 3 of the house bear, where she tries to blockade with a broom.
Where she tries to barricade herself.
There it goes. Our iTunes score just went up to 4 stars.
Word of the day.
Everyone loves
I was like, I hope no one's used barricade.
Okay, back to Rio, where Abraham has grabbed the second in command at the. I mean, I don't know that he's second in command, but that's the energy he gives off.
Yeah.
Abraham like sneaks up behind him with a pistol and like it's like, take me to my friends, take me to Silva.
Yeah, I think we should better describe how he does this though, because this guy, this like second in command is like early 5 foot.
He's small and Abraham's big.
Like, picks him up by his throat, and like before his feet hit the ground again, dude already has a gun to his head. I was like, holy shit, that is incredible.
Abraham's sort of doing like a Jason Statham like kind of like movie in this episode.
Yeah.
But that's all. Like he's just like, take me, and the guy's like, okay. And then and then we cut back to Mitch and Chloe, where Mitch is being an asshole. Again. God. And like, there's no way we can build this machine that will scare away the bats. And Chloe's like, we're just trying to buy time, Mitch. That's not what's happening. And he's like, there's just no way I can do it. And then Chloe's like, Mitch, we're just trying to buy time. And then Mitch is like, wait, maybe there is a way I can do. He's like, back in college, I had a
hot professor.
super hot professor, and I fucked her. That's what happened. Because I was hot shit, king shit of Turd Mountain.
King shit of Turd Mountain.
But not only was it a very inappropriate relationship, but you knew a lot about bats too.
Yeah. So let me tell you, the thing is, a few of Mitch's stories now have been like, I had sex with someone, and it's relevant to this scenario.
Yeah.
It does feel like maybe he's lying about the sex part.
It does. I mean, it feels like he's lying about the whole thing. He's like, I listened to her theories all night, and one of them was that, like, high pitches repel bats, and, like, that, you don't need to be a bat expert.
Yeah.
Also, the way he phrased it made it sound like he said it like it was sexual, but the way he phrased it made it seem like she had a thing for bats.
Yeah.
Not just that he had sex with her and she liked bats, but that she specifically had a thing for bats.
Like that he had to do like a whole Peter Pan in a bat suit thing up to her window.
Yeah. I was sort of hoping that we would get a shot of Mitch just like sadly walking in a bat costume.
Rolling his eyes.
Alternatively,
all the other students know exactly what's happening.
The walk of shame once again.
Alternatively, a fully naked Mitch, except there's like a sock puppet of a bat right in front of the old family jewels.
The old Wiener Schnitzel.
Anyways, he's like, I'm gonna build this thing so instead of drawing the bats to it, it scares the bats away, which is what the gang member was asking for in the start. If he had built it and they had been swarmed by bats, I think the gang member would have
been a little upset. Yeah.
He would have been like, wait a minute here. Back to Abraham, who's like leading this guy, and this guy leads him into a warehouse where people are taking apart cars, I guess. It's not really... They have stuff.
It's like there's like chop shop noises going on, but it's not really... Like, no one's actually doing anything.
Right.
Everyone's just kind of standing around.
It's like when you see a scene from, like, a bad action movie and, like, you watch the people who are supposed to be part of a big, like, 6 people fighting one guy.
Yeah.
And, like, in the background, it's just, like, one guy fighting one guy, and then 5 people in the background just, like, whoa! Like, rolling around on the floor, like, here we come!
That's basically what this was. Because the guy's like, oh, well, I'm not actually going to lead you to Silvio. What are you talking about?
What do I look like, a fucking idiot? He'll kill me. You won't kill me. And then all the people who are around the chop shop surround Abraham, and it's like, oh no, what's going to happen to Abraham?
And then it's like, oh, well, Abraham's like 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
600 pounds of pure muscle.
And turns out he's a fucking, like, king shit of, like, fight. Like, he's
king shit of actual mountains.
He's king shit of real mountains.
Yeah.
He's like, he does, like, an action movie, like, he takes all the people's friends out and then pulls the gun again on this guy and is like, now take me to Silvo. I keep going back and forth because I forgot what you told me it was. Silvo. Okay.
And guy's like, all right, you win.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense because like he still didn't kill anybody.
Yeah. What if he brought him to a different warehouse with more tougher guys?
Yeah. Maybe that's what happened. Like he just did that like 6 times, and then he ended up taking him to the real boss.
Also, I think it was sort of cut into the middle of that last scene, but Evan. It cuts back to Evan, who now has a sick eye patch.
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought was going to be, like, his new thing, his new sweet style. And he's doing something with the mother cell while the optometrist is talking to, like, an old lady on the phone who's asking about her prescription. And which really highlights how prepared this optometrist is for this level of, like, surgery. It does not feel right that he's doing, and I don't know how much training you get as an optometrist. I don't know that like every optometrist like who's in like one of those places can't just like perform eye surgery in theory. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it's not like, that in practice.
Yeah.
Like it. Because if he's that old, especially, because it was an old dude, like that's a little ways from eye school.
Yeah.
Like,
old eye school. You really got to start renewing those licenses because some of those guys like eyes are like windows, but into your face, into your brain. Okay, well, no, that's not.
Oh God.
But Evan's like, go ahead.
Extract stuff from the mother cell and it's like, all right, now put it back in me.
Yeah, like he puts the juices from his eye and mixes them with the little bits of mother cell. Still, I don't think we should be calling it a cell as much as just like a kind of
clump.
Yeah, just a clump of tissue.
It still looks like honeycomb or something.
Yeah. But yeah, and he's just like, put it back.
He's like, put it back, and the guy's like, where? And he's like,
and he just rips his eye patch.
Oh my God! Which was just like a thing, so he could do that like dramatic, like put it in my eye, like
like where do you think?
Like not like in my ass, man, like in my eye. You're an optometrist. If I needed it somewhere else, I'd go find the other doctor in this mini mart. Back to Mobile. Jamie's like going on social media and lying about the car. She's saying she's saying that Evan killed her dog to try and get like people around America to search for. Yeah. Like to look out for the pickup truck, which isn't a bad idea. I don't think you need to do it for all of America. I'm sure like you could do some good work by like talking to just the people on like the local Gossip Mill Facebook page for Mobile, Alabama. I'm sure if you were looking for a truck, you could use social media to like.
Yeah, that would probably be like more efficient.
And she does end up finding him, and they go and pick up Schaefer, who's like, they're like, why didn't you answer my text, Schaefer? And Schaefer's like, because I was talking to Raiden Goebel. I mean, because
I just didn't have anything.
I didn't have anything yet. Like he's so suspicious this whole episode.
I mean, the whole time. Like, period.
They come up to this optometrist place. They're like, run in, and I can't believe that Evan was still there when they got there. Yeah. I definitely thought he was going to be gone on the road.
The timing is very strange.
Right.
Like, it's so weird.
I think it's because, I think that has to do with the sequence of events, because we just saw Evan, like, having this thing done to him, and now we're we must have gone back in time to, they've seen him at this optometrist, like, so that they could get there in time to see the end of the process.
Yeah.
But they get there, Evan's being, like, super crazy in the, like, chair. He's, like, really, like, ow, and the optometrist is like, don't move, come on.
We're almost done.
Stay still, come on. And they run in, and Evan's like dying in this chair.
And like immediately, the guy's like, "He made me do it." It's like,
hey, not me. And Jackson Oz barely does anything in the show, despite like the fact that he's obviously meant to be the lead. He rarely has like a scene, it seems like nowadays. Like, and he grabs Evan and he's like, tell me about my dad. And
he's like, your father did this to me.
And then he dies.
He just dies. Like, the only good character. The only pure character.
They built him up so much the past 6 episodes. There was so much of this that was just him being built up and up and up. And then they just get, like, it wasn't even like the thing of like, oh, they like leave the room and then someone comes out and it's like, oh, he's dead, and you know for sure he's not really dead.
Yeah.
They saw him die, and I mean, it is a TV series, so it's possible that they'll be like, actually, he didn't die.
What if he's hibernating?
Oh my god! And that's why the last scene.
Oh my!
But I bet they'll just be like, but who can they replace him with? I mean, we should probably get through and violent.
That's why that's the most valid theory now.
Let's get up to the end of the episode. Then we get That's such a good.
That's awesome.
I hope that would really turn around this episode for me.
Yeah,
I'd be like, that's sick.
Yes.
So Schaefer is like, okay, everybody leave this office except for me, the optometrist, and this dead body. Everybody, you guys go back to the hotel. I'll clean up here.
Yeah.
I mean, I am an FBI agent after all.
Wink.
I won't need your testimony, so.
Wink.
Just go relax.
Go relax. I'll be here doing nothing illegal. They go back to the house. We cut back to the house bear, where the woman is trying. She picks up a bell she has in her closet for some reason. The most like. Which, by the way, she had a broom on the fucking floor that she just had in her hands. Yeah. She takes this bell and she tries to, like, drag her phone off the, like, desk, which, like, if she just reached out and went for it, it would be much quieter, much quicker. And, like, the phone falls and the bear's like, I'm gonna get you. And
and not only does the phone fall, but the bell starts belling, which is what a bell does. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this lady?
You could have ripped the, like, thing out even if, like, you wanted to, like, it was a little bell. And also, what was that bell for? What in her life did she use that bell for? Was it for dinner time?
It was for detecting bears, but she put it in the wrong
place. She's like, shit, this was supposed to be hanging above the mantle.
Yeah, not in the closet, damn it.
The bear's attacking this door that seems to be made of plywood, and yet it's still, like, it's kind of struggling to get through yet. Like, I know it's supposed to be, like, I don't know how else you would build the tension, I guess. Like, if it was, like, a sturdy door, it would be more expensive to, like, do all this shit. But, like, that bear would have just gone through it. There wouldn't have been even, like...
It would have ripped through it like paper.
It would not have slowed the bear down. Cut back to Rio, where Mitch is being a shithead.
Oh, God.
And Chloe's like, you need to be more optimistic. I've just read The Secret.
Yeah, because he's even like... He's like, I don't know if this will work. And, which doesn't even seem like a shithead thing to do. It just seems like, hey... Yeah,
it's just
just letting you know we might die.
It's in the context of, like, everything else about Mitch. Yeah. Is like... Because this scene was, like, insufferable in a lot of ways. Because then he's like, you know, I used to be big, hot shit, like, back in the day. Back when I was fucking my professor. And everybody loved me. And then I published a paper that was bad. And now everybody hates me. And I'm dead now. And she's like, actually, I know you're talking about your daughter.
Yeah.
Who we met last episode. In the last good episode. And, yeah, it's just like, it's a long scene and it's supposed to be emotional, but I just hate Mitch a lot right now.
I just hate both characters.
Yeah.
Because again, like, he even starts it out just being like, hey, we're probably going to die. And then she gets all over his shit and like, oh, well, why are you like that? Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, and then he's like, it's the truth. Mm-hmm. Then she's like, oh, it's just what you choose to believe based on facts. Like,
there's
It was a lame scene.
Yeah.
It moves on to they like get called out and they're like, oh, our machine must have worked. Like the gang like bring them to me, and they cut, and Abraham has found Silva and he has a gun on him, and he says some, like, they both say some hard like I'm tough and I'm tough stuff to each other, and then Silva kisses his necklace.
Yeah, and like
then he's just like
yeah,
lets him go. Like
yeah, and this is like a bad dude.
Yeah.
And Abraham's still like, oh, I wouldn't, blah, 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 I'm not killing you.
And he's like, never come back to Rio de Janeiro.
Not even on holiday. I had better not ever see you at a sandals resort.
Abraham walks away, and then Sylvia turns on his second hand and starts just beating the shit out of him. He doesn't even do any funny bits. Which is a shame. You know he's really mad. He doesn't do any funny bits. He just starts beating the shit out of him, and then Abraham comes back and hits him
with like a brick or something.
Yeah, and it's like, and then the machine.
Like you just said you weren't gonna kill him, and then you bludgeon him over the fucking back of the head with your 23-inch pythons.
The machine that was supposed to drive the bat away, which wasn't working up until this point, after the final boss was defeated.
It's working.
Blood sacrifice to the like Apple computer with like a GPS tied to it or whatever, and it's
just a very weird. Because even the piece that's on it to show that there's like an oscillating wave or whatever, like they show them pulling it out of an old computer, like that's not a thing that a computer would have of any type, especially not an old computer.
This shouldn't have worked. They were lying.
Yeah,
and also,
entirely.
Mitch is not an engineer as far as I fucking know. He's a biologist. Unless he just does that on the side, but he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who has hobbies outside of, like, drinking.
Yeah.
No.
Like drinking and having like a little notebook full of his little one-liners.
Yeah. One-liners and facts. And
yeah, bat facts. Hashtag bat facts.
Hashtag bat facts. Right into the show using hashtag bat facts.
Next weekend, watch Bat Facts on FX.
We cut back to Mobile, where Schaefer comes up to Jamie's hotel room door. He knocks, and she comes out in just a towel, and he's like, shouldn't we all be celebrating? Where's Jackson? Like, and she's like, well, you know, a man died.
A man died right after revealing that Jackson's father is the one that somehow caused his mutation and then ultimately his death in front of us.
And he's like, why are you being such a fucking killjoy? Yeah.
Have some fun.
Have some fun. And then she's like, you know what? Maybe we should have sex. And he's like, all right. It was so weird. There was no... It's hard to get across if you aren't watching the show along with us and you're just listening to our descriptions. It's hard to get across when something just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like when it's just like, no, there's been no scene where they really were attracted to each other.
Yeah, there's been no build-up of any kind,
in
no
fact,
conversation.
If anything, he's only flirted with Chloe, who's in Rio de Janeiro. He's barely interacted with Jamie at all, except to send her away with Leo and be like, I'm sure he'll be a fine gentleman.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't done anything.
Has only put her life in danger.
Yeah. And so they make out for a second, and she's like, I'm gonna go into the bathroom to do some dry my hair or something. And she does that, and immediately he's like, okay, I'm a criminal, and now everyone knows.
I'm looking through all your stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that now that he was definitely looking for the mother cell, but it's possible he was just a weird sex pervert.
Yeah. Maybe. And I mean, you know what? Some guys, they just need...
They just need this.
Steal some panties.
They just need to rummage through some luggage before they can get off.
Yeah.
But he's looking through all their shit. And then it pops down to Jackson's in the hotel lobby, and he's having a drink and he's watching the TV, and the news person comes on. She's like, we found 2 dead at an optometrist. She says it like she's surprised. 2 dead at an optometrist, and he's like, wait a minute, Evan Lee's just one person.
What?
Who's the other?
There's a second person.
And he's like, but who was left there? The optometrist. And, oh my God!
Yeah.
He has this realization, Schaefer's not on their side. He killed the optometrist.
And it took him so long.
It was a good scene. It was a good bit that, like,
Yeah.
oh, we found 2, and then, like...
Because immediately, whenever it's, like, 2 dead at optometrist's place, I'd have been like, hey, nope. 911.
You've got it wrong. There was only one man who was dead.
Yeah. There was only one man who died.
I know it's weird because his name is Evan and Lee, but it's just the one guy. He runs up. He's like, oh no, Schaefer's not on our side. He figures out what we've known because Schaefer keeps like nervously looking over his own shoulder all the time. He runs up. He's like calling Jamie, and Jamie tries to do like a, oh no, I'm with Schaefer right now. Maybe we should have dinner. And Schaefer's like, takes the phone from her, ties her up with a phone cord.
Which it's a lamp.
Which that is not revealed until later.
Yeah, but...
Which makes the next scene kind of iffy, because Jackson is, like, rushing to save Jamie.
Right.
And he sees fucking Dude Man just leisurely leaving the hotel room. And he's like, you son of a bitch, down the hallway. And just starts chasing him. Does not even, like, try to look in the room to see if Jamie's all right.
She's dead. Like, maybe he thinks she's definitely dead.
Yeah.
But, like, also, in this scene, in this hotel, where they go running down the hallway and screaming, you son of a bitch! They couldn't hire one single extra to, like, poke his whole head out and be like, huh?
Who's a son of a bitch?
Do I need to call the police? No one sees them. It's an empty hotel except for these 3 people.
Yeah.
He chases them into the stairwell where Ben Schaefer, we found out his name is Ben, right before the end of his arc. Ben Schaefer turns and takes like 2 shots at Jackson, and then Jackson vaults over the steps and like
directly on top of him.
Body slams him into the stairs, and they both go down together, and they go down a few steps of stairs. It felt like they were like they had a stuntman who did 3 really good takes, and they were like, let's just use them all.
Yeah, like they had to use the rest of their stunt budget.
Yeah, this episode.
So they just like have these 2 just falling downstairs for like 5 minutes.
It was a use it or lose it situation. And then they're like at the bottom of the steps. Ben's lost his gun. Jamie's standing at the top of the steps. The gun's in between the 2 of them, and Jamie's stands at the top of the steps and is like, get off of him, you son of a...
Yeah, I love cable television. It's like, son of a bitch is like the worst thing.
And then she doesn't get the gun first. She's just threatening him with her general sort of oeuvre.
Just the fact that she's there.
And then they race for the gun, and she picks it up and fucking wastes him.
Oh, yeah, immediately. Like, I can believe it.
Like, it doesn't like hold him up first, just pulls it on him and pop, 3 right into his body.
The person who's the least likely, I think, to do this in the group, I don't know. Mitch doesn't seem like he could pull it off. I think Mitch would probably like
he'd get the gun and just blow his brains
out. Mitch wouldn't do it, but like I was not expecting it, and she just like blew him away and killed him. He's definitely dead.
Confirmed dead.
And it cuts away, and they're like, whoa, and then cuts away back to Paris, where the woman's safe. Like animal control came and like put the bear. I'm confused as to whether they did anything to the bear.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think the bear...
Yeah, it doesn't say anything up to that point, and it's just like...
They just pull the woman out of this closet and, like, take her away. And they're like, the bear got in through an open door, which makes it feels like they're blaming her.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem right. They're like, the bear got in through an open door, so maybe lock them next time.
Yeah.
As if the bear wouldn't have gotten in if it wanted
to. Just be lucky that this was a bear and not a serial killer.
Yeah. They take her out, and the like person who's monitoring the bear is like, the bear's like only breathing like twice a minute. I think it's hibernating, which really like lends some credence. Because why else would they do that besides like as a hint?
Yeah, as something else.
Which
could be
dope if it's true.
Oh my
I
god.
hope
Ooh.
Because they can't get rid of Evan.
They can't. They can't.
They've done too much work to do that. Like, they could, like, the thing I was expecting was they would overuse Evan to the point where he's, like, no longer fun.
Yeah.
Like, I never in my whole life thought, oh, they'll kill Evan in, like, halfway through the first season.
I wonder if it's like, so they say Mother Cell, and I get some Metroid vibes from it. Do you think, like, getting stuff from the Mother Cell gives you more powers like in Metroid?
I was thinking that it would, like, speed up his kind of mutation. Because that would, like give him kind of animal powers, maybe?
Yeah. Like Animorphs, but without transforming.
Yeah.
Final scene,
Or control over.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be cool, too.
It'd be good. Or maybe he's going to give them more psychic... Because all these animals are gaining powers. Like, they can speak psychically, and now the bats are immune to pesticides.
Yeah.
They're immune to poison that they said humans can't handle. Which, those are small animals.
Yeah.
Like, they shouldn't be able to handle any poison. Last scene, cut back to Washington, D.C., where Mitch is calling Penelope as his daughter, right?
I
think it's Penelope.
Who cares?
He calls her, and her new dad is like, I don't know if you should talk to her. And he's like, I would like to talk to her. And he's like, okay.
God, her dad is her stepdad is such a nice guy.
What a cool guy.
Yeah, he's just the coolest, and he's probably gonna be dead.
Oh yeah, that dog's probably gonna kill.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that he was going to get on the phone with Penelope and be like, Penelope, this is very important. You need to kill your dog.
Or you need to cut your dog's eyes out.
There's a scalpel underneath the desk. Go to my office. Under the desk, there's a scalpel taped to it, just in case. But no, Penelope doesn't seem interested in seeing him, even though she just asked to see him last episode.
Yeah. Well, it might be, and that was one of the only parts, surprisingly, that there was any kind of decent direction that I saw. Because, it's an estrangement type thing.
Yeah.
Where, they both want to see each other and talk, but they're, not sure how. Mm-hmm. And it was so weird, because, the rest of that storyline is just trash.
Yeah.
But then they managed to capture some kind of realty with it.
Yeah. It was okay. It was an alright.
Realty.
This felt like... This last scene felt sort of, lame comparatively, because normally they end on a real,
yeah.
Good note. Yeah.
But it was just sort of I guess because the rest of the episode was so much happening. But he walks back to the table with everyone else. Well, first he orders a vodka on Chloe's tab.
Double vodka.
By saying, the blonde lady over there, she's paying for my drink.
See that broad over the other end of the bar.
Which, by the way, can I
I don't think so.
Can I just go to a bar and be like, that redhead over there by the window? She's paying for my drinks.
No, they'd be like, do you have a name? She wants to come over here first.
Her name is Clarice? You got it right, sir. That's... Yes.
Best friends.
Best friends forever.
He walks back over and they're like, how's your daughter? And he's like, she's fine. I'm feeling pretty good now, actually. Feeling very cocky after I
solve the bat problem.
I'm feeling great.
And they failed to, bring up the fact that the entirety of Rio de Janeiro is poison.
They failed their time limit. They missed the time limit. They didn't they set that up and then it just, next episode, missed it. And then in come Jamie and Jackson and they're like, look, we got the mother cell. And don't mention the fact that they've killed a man.
Yeah, fresh off the kill.
Which, by the way, how the fuck did they get out of that hotel without anyone, Gunshots went off in that hallway.
Many.
No sense.
Multiple gunshots, and, they were, had blood on them, and, their luggage was, they would have had to leave behind their luggage if they wanted to get out of there before, there's just no, that hotel scene is so, it's, and I'm not, I try and stop being, the super nitpicky about, this isn't realistic, but it's a hotel. At least you could have, been oh, they got out onto the open road or something.
Or ran into the forest,
something. Just so that it's not,
a building just full of people, and that's the only way it ever is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this, chamber Where even, like, looking at it, like, structurally, this, like, chamber that just, like, echoes this gunshot is surrounded at least by, like, one room per floor on each side.
Like, at least, like, gotta be, like...
So it would have to be entirely empty for no one to hear that.
Yeah, they're. I mean, this is an interesting point, and I'm interested to see if they care at all, if they like even reference it from this point forward, outside of like next episode. If it's just like, oh yeah, we're criminals now because you murdered a man, regardless of the fact that he was a bad dude. Like, you killed a guy and left his body in a hotel. Unless they're like, we got his body out of the hotel, same way we got the wolf body in. Yeah. It was a not a great episode. It was a little all over the place. Some scenes that were really frustrating. Some scenes that were really great. And if that hibernation thing is true, chef's kiss.
Yeah, think, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I have to wonder though. Like, I don't think they'll kill Evan, but will they kill Schaefer?
I hope.
I mean,
it's awful, but they need
they
need more villains.
Yeah, they need some kind of representative for the Raiden global thing.
Yeah.
Because if that's like 100% official where they're going with it, then I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I
what.
Just hate Schaefer.
Yeah, he's a prick. I don't like that he's like, he flirts with both of the female characters, and then one, like, it just like, it goes from 0 to like 100 with no like logic at all. Like, and I really hate when it's just like, well, listen, they're a dude and a lady. And if we write them flirting for 30 seconds, then they'll make out.
Yeah.
Like, it's
just like real life.
Mm-hmm. Which, like, you know, I shitty.
I still just hate Jamie's character overall. So this isn't something that I didn't think she'd do. But it's still, it's, she doesn't have any class.
Oh gosh. I don't know, man. It's gotta suck for her to go from making out with a guy to killing him, and like he ties her up to her killing him.
Arguably, she's had the most trauma of any of them.
Yeah,
because
by now, yeah.
It was like a couple days before she was almost killed in a car wreck.
Yeah, we
saw some dude that she was having a genuine connection with die.
Eventually, I'm gonna make like a trauma graph so we can just sort of keep track of who's in the lead. Because it's like her. Chloe's up there, definitely.
Kenyatta.
Abraham.
I mean, he was dragged by lions. That's pretty
Yeah,
but he's a tough cookie.
That's true.
He came out of that, and he was just like, you know what? That was baller. Like, hey, guess what I just did, Japanese ladies that I'm really into.
I love Tokyo because I am a wee. Let's do our animal attacks we're hoping for coming up. Anybody got one? Because I am ready.
I would like to see just insects. I think they're underrepresented.
And those are the two horrifying things.
Yeah, like insects are really terrifying. Like there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I feel like if that's gonna happen, it's gonna be like a horror themed episode, like because that would be terrifying. Like, I mean, can you just imagine them coming on like a dead body and being like, "There's nothing wrong with the body," and then they like reach down to touch it and just digging their way out of the skin.
Naruto.
That'd be rough.
Oh man. Inspired by this bear scene, I really loved the first scene of the bear. It was bad, like it was really funny because it was bad, like it didn't make any sense, and I'd really like to see just like a person in Florida just go through their whole day with an alligator behind them. It's like they wake up and like there's like they get out of bed and it pans down, there's an alligator underneath the bed, and they're like making their breakfast and the alligator's like in the tub in the bathroom behind them, and they get in their car and like they turn in the car and the alligator like pops open the back door and climbs up into it.
It shows the alligator with the like it bites the bumper and it's just getting like dragged down the highway.
He's at like an office job and like working on the computer, just like hate these, like these accounts need to get finished, and the alligator in the back and like a woman with coffee just whoa.
That'd be awesome.
All the way home, and then he lies down, and like
And
the
that's when
alligator's
he gets
next to him in bed, and he looks over and he's like, "Good night, honey." And then he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what?" Eaten by alligator.
Or no, maybe he was married to the alligator.
I was picturing the alligator ate his wife, but yes, also a possibility. I mean, if all the animals are sentient, I'm like, well, you know, who knows?
It's gotta get somewhere.
Mm-hmm. That's the ending episode. James Patterson comes out and is like, I would like to marry a cat. Please. This whole show has been a way for me to convince you. Let me marry my cat.
That'd be awesome. So I don't think this is possible.
Okay. I like the sound of it already, though.
I'm terrified of the idea of an anteater.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got like a trio of them, and some hold your arms down, and the anteater puts its whole like snout, this long thing, down your throats.
Oh no!
And like goes into your lungs and just like uses the air to collapse them.
Just your
So
tongue whipping around in there. I gotta be honest, I was picturing you were gonna go for a different opening. I definitely thought you were about to tell me you were afraid an ant, like, that you had a dream last night where an anteater defiled you.
I was thinking like nose, because that would be just like a more unpleasant experience.
Yeah, I mean it would be the same as effects, but like
I think the main thing is like it destroys your windpipe, so nothing can come. Like, nothing's getting in, and it just collapses your lungs.
Oh god!
And you just can't breathe.
That's pretty rough.
And the others are holding you down with their tongues like they're Bulbasaurs.
I am trying to think of like just horrifying ones.
Yeah, I mean that's like.
Yeah, I think like, God, I don't know, like specifically with the insects, I don't know what would be the scariest, because insects are just terrifying in general.
It's true.
But I feel like it would have to be a non-poisonous one, because the poisonous one would get it over too quick.
I think just anything that like like ants or something, where it's just they dig away, like just a lot of them. Like it's not about like the dangerous aspect; it's the sheer numbers of insects that are like frightening.
They're gonna, in like 10 years, Fox is gonna call us up, or who did this?
NBC?
It was CBS.
CBS is gonna call us up. They're gonna be like, "Listen, guys, we're doing a gritty reboot.
We need these ideas.
We've got Christopher Nolan on to direct, and we heard that you guys are the preeminent. Like my end goal with this podcast is to become the preeminent zoo expert. Yeah. Like for to be able to put that on my resume.
Yeah,
like,
to be able to like tour the country, go into like.
Zoo convention.
Like schools and stuff, and be like, you can be where I am.
You too can know this much about the TV show Zoo. Although to be fair, we do forget characters' names a lot.
Oh yeah,
but they don't matter.